Good Tuesday evening, and welcome to Gazette Sports Chat. I'm your host, Joe Gilloway, and tonight we will explore the PennLive girls basketball 25 for 25 list. Let's first thank our sponsors before we bring in our special guests here. And these are going to be our sponsors all year long for the 25-26 sports seasons. And they are Capital Region Insurance Agency, Payer Apparel, Team PA, AAU Basketball, Ted's Bar and Grill, the Tire Mart, American Legion, Post 272, Crystal Bob at Iron Valley Real Estate, Hoffman Ford, Sam Hartley Decking, and Tonino's Pizza. Thank you to those great local businesses for their continued support of Lingelstown Gazette Sports and our area student athletes. So back to what we're here for. PennLive, the writers, some of the writers from PennLive, guys that we respect who know what they're doing, they're seasoned vets. They put together 25 for 25 lists. And what these are is the top 25 athletes in various sports. Most of the PIAA sanctioned sports they made lists for. Tonight we're doing girls basketball, but it's a tough list to narrow down to 25. How many players have been playing for 25 years, first of all, and how many players were great within this time frame? And the answer to that is quite a few. So I know for a fact, I know these guys personally. They did the best they could, and we're excited to talk to our guest tonight. So let's start with Coach Kristi Britten, longtime, very successful Hall of Fame coach from Trinity, Kristi Britten. Then we got a guy I've been trying to get on some shows for a while now. He's in a new capacity. He's an athletic director at Central Dauphin East, Dwan Lee, but he coached for Harrisburg High for a decade, had a lot of success there, had a lot of success against the next guy I'll introduce, Coach Randy Gambelunghe from Central Dauphin. Hey, Randy, you had some really good teams that couldn't beat Harrisburg, didn't you?
They were tough.
Yeah, they were.
He's won a lot of championships, though. So that's all.
Yeah, you were able to kind of brush it off. If you got swept by them, you could still win a district title.
When they moved to 5A, it was a blessing for us.
How about it? So Randy's currently with Central Dauphin, entering his 10th year, third stint with Central Dauphin. I think is it your 16th overall? Did you have 3 years twice before? Something like that.
I think it's my 18th overall.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then you were at Hershey too for 2 stints. So anyway, we have, and I respect that all three of these coaches a great deal, and they've helped Lingelstown Gazette out in the past with things over the years. So thanks again, coaches, for joining us. And also want to mention that the criteria that these the PennLive writers use, it's various criteria that they surveyed coaches, they surveyed media members, current and ex-media members, current and ex-coaches, archive content and stats, how many points they scored and whatever other stats. Were they on the Big 15 teams back in the day? Did they have winning teams? Did they make All-State? Their place in their program's history and their post-high school career. So there was a lot of criteria. These guys worked very tirelessly on this. And so anyway, let's jump right into it. And we're going to just do this. This is in no particular order, coaches. This is alphabetical order. So I know who we're going to ask about this first one. Diamond Bragg from Camp Hill, graduate in 2018 in Camp Hill. And Coach Kristi Britten, you went up against Diamond quite a few times over the course of 4 seasons, correct?
We sure did. Yeah. She was, formidable. The player that you are, of course, you prepare for the whole team, but she was certainly the focus of every time we played. And, we had some good teams those years as well. And it was always a head-to-head battle. And I know, I'm pretty good friends with Mark Clark, who was coaching when she was there. And one of the cool things about Diamond, as well as many of these young ladies, is he always said she was such a great person and a great team leader and a great teammate. And, always trying to bring, the best out in her whole team. It wasn't all about her, despite the fact that she was everybody's focus.
Boy, is that well put. I totally agree. I know her family. I've known her family, her father and uncle, Ben and Larry, we grew up together. We were kids. So I've kind of known of Diamond, for all the years, since she was born. And I just know that she's a stellar stand-up young lady, and she was that way in high school too.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
all right, let's move on to Alexandria Bream. Coach G, is that going to be yours?
Yeah. I was a CD East assistant when she played, and I remember we used to scrimmage with Bob Heiser, who'd come over, and he was the head coach at Lower Dolphin, and that was probably his best team. He had some great teams. He's a great coach, but and then one of the players on that team, Quantina Gillis, who came to, they call her Q. She coached with me for a few years at CD, and Bream was their leader. She was their best player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and if you're the best player on a team, on Bob Heiser's arguably his best team, then that's kind of one of the reasons you get on a list like this. And let's just kind of shout out Bob Heiser, man. That guy.
I was going to say, you called me the mother hen. He's the.
He was but you're the mother hen. Yeah, but I trust that Coach Heiser's doing well, and boy, I still missed seeing him on the sidelines. I just thought he was just so great for local high school boys basketball or girls basketball. I'm sorry. Cecily Carl, Mechanicsburg. Who coached against her?
I did.
I have too. Yeah, like Kristi.
Well, little known fact too, she was at Trinity her first year, and then she transferred over. What again was, she was more of a quiet, I think like what I had said about Diamond, about being that leader and that vocal person, always trying to bring up your teammates. I think Cecily did the same thing, but just in a more more quiet manner, lead by example. And she wasn't like a real, loud or talkative student athlete, but her career certainly speaks for herself. And I didn't even know this until I read this, that she has a key to the town of Mechanicsburg, and I live in Mechanicsburg.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's really cool.
If you ever need in or out, you just have to talk to Cecily, right? She's got the key. That's awesome. I like that. And how many great girls basketball players have gone through that school? A lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think there's two on the list, and she's obviously one of the two. So hats off to Cecily Carl from Mechanicsburg. Coach Dwan Lee, we're going to bring you in now. Stacy Dennis from Harrisburg, class of 2009. What can you tell us about Stacy?
Obviously, I'm a little biased. Stacy was my first year coaching girls basketball, 2008-2009 season, and Stacy was on my team, and I was just amazed at how skilled, how talented she was as a player. At her size, legitimate 5'11", could handle the ball, shoot it, could pass it. And she kind of played at her own pace. Sometimes kids that play that way, coaches, we kind of look at it as like they're not playing hard, but the real good ones kind of play at their own pace. I learned as I got a little longer in the tooth, I realized when they're good, you just kind of let them go. And she was just, she was a great player. Went to James Madison and played for a year. My first year on the girls scene to inherit somebody like her was pretty good.
Yeah, that's really good. And I'm always impressed with, you use the word amazed, and you were a very high end boys basketball player, of course. Big 15, played in college. So when a guy with your talent and your resume calls another player like that amazing, that means something. That's meaningful. So thank you to Stacy Dennis for not only making the list, but helping Coach Lee's job
make it easy,
a little bit smoother out of the gate. Let's move back to Coach Britten, Jill Glessner from Trinity, 2003. That's 22 years ago, but you're qualified to talk about way back at Trinity, right?
Well, yeah, I was Coach DeFrank's assistant at that point.
Yes, that's why I mentioned that.
But Jill was, I always thought she was really deceiving. Like, she wasn't extraordinarily tall. She wasn't extraordinarily muscular or super fast, or anything. Like, she just had this, fly under the radar smoothness to her game. She was a threat from all over the court. She was long and lanky, so when she did go inside, she was out rebounding and pulling down, just because her timing was so good, pulling down some rebounds over girls much taller than her. And again, just a all team great kid. Yeah, she has two nieces in the program now. So
a lot of times players like that, you said she wasn't necessarily too big, too strong, too fast, too quick. They're just high IQ players.
Yeah,
you make up for it with high IQ. You don't need all those other things when you're smart, when you know where to put your body on the court, or where it should be or where it shouldn't be sometimes. And
she wasn't afraid to work. That's a biggie too. She was
probably a lot of workers on this list, that's for sure. So we're gonna talk about, or hopefully somebody can. This was kind of a head scratcher. Kate Glusko from State College, 2003, only because this is a mid-Penn list, and State College was not competing in the mid-Penn in 2003, right, Coach G?
Yeah, that's kind of the head scratcher for me. Eric did a phenomenal job on this list.
Yes, there's no doubt.
I had never seen her play. I honestly, she's the one person on the list I can honestly say I've never.
I trust that she was darn good. if you're playing for State College and you make a list like this, you're darn good. But we apologize that we cannot really say anything about Kate. But congratulations for making the list. And how about Jen Harris? I would say one of the. This is an elite list. I would say one of the elites of the elite or Jen Harris, Central Dauphin, 2003. Yeah. I think probably Coach G or Kristi could take this one.
I'll never forget. I was coaching CD East, and a friend of mine had the had the CD job at the time. His name was Nick Garante. I don't know if you guys remember Nick. I don't know if Jen was a junior or senior when he took over, but I went into the CD middle gym, which was the high school at the time, and she was playing with boys. And the first time I ever seen her, she had baggy shorts on, and the way she rose on her jump shot, I was just watching like, oh my goodness, who is this? I'd never seen someone that athletic and tall, and in the female game ever. So yeah, she was phenomenal.
Yeah, there's a reason why, in my estimation, she's probably a top 5 player. We're going to get to that after we get through the list, and you guys can play along or you don't have to. But I'd like her as one of the best players ever to come out of this area.
And there was such a rivalry then with CD and Cumberland Valley at the time. Even then, they had Ashley Langford hadn't transferred to Harrisburg yet, and she's on the list later on. And she was playing for CD, and Carla Thomas, who's also on the list, was on the team. They had some real great games back then.
Carla's Cumberland Valley team won it the Jen's junior year at Central Dauphin, 2002. So Coach Dwan Lee, I think you might have some familiarity with Brianne Hill from McDevitt.
Absolutely. So I was actually, that might have been my last year or one of the years I was coaching boys at McDevitt, and I remember her playing at Still High, and then I know the Hill family really well, and kind of like what Randy said with Jen Harris, and irony with Jen Harris is I grew up with her brother, so her brother Jason was from my neighborhood, so I've known her family for a long time, and I know her mom, Miss Pearl, used to work her out all the time. But anyway, on to Brianne, like her skill set, and you hate to say it, like. Back then we would say, "Oh, if a girl was really good, they play like a boy."
I still use that, and I hope people aren't insulted by it. That's a high.
And that's
compliment.
I avoided that with Jen, but it was kind of.
It's a high compliment.
But after coaching girls basketball for over a decade, I realized that that's probably not the right thing to say.
I know that's
discredits their talent, but her skill set. I always remember Brianna, the way she handled the ball and facilitated. Like she looked like Pearl Washington sometimes. I think she was a lefty. And she could just pass and make the right passes at all times. And she was good, and she could finish. I remember she just had a strong body.
Yeah, she was physical.
Contract.
So athletic, so physical.
Yeah, but that's all that family, the Hill family. They breed athletes.
Absolutely, they do. Okay, so here's one of the players I had a chance to watch play because I'm Randy's public address announcer, and I got to announce this young lady who ended up going on to UConn and play for Gino Ariema, Kyla Irwin. Coach G, you coached against her mother, and you game planned against her.
Yeah, and she was a great coach, and Dwan coached against her too.
Yes.
So she just could do it all. I mean, she can play inside and out. She had a great jump shot, and she was strong, and she was a coach on the floor. That's why UConn wanted her, because she was such a team kid. Dwan, you want to add to that?
She just, again, at a young age, she was just so talented. And I think they had just came into the Mid-Penn Commonwealth, or we used to play them non-conference, but I remember we would spend a lot of time on preparing for her, but she just knew how to play so well. I think her mother played at Penn State, so she was well versed in how to play. So she just made everybody else better on her team. All these players,
absolutely,
they made their teammates better. While they were the focal point of their teams, they made others better. But
if Gino wants you, you're special, right?
Absolutely,
you're special. Let me just read these two comments. I promise these people that comment and that ask questions that we'll get to them. Coach Dwan Lee, this is from Buzz JJ. Are you familiar with who that is? Maybe that's just a Facebook name,
right.
But Coach Dwan Lee, that's my favorite AAU coach. So shout out to Coach Lee.
That's Buzz Cable, right? New Stilton coach.
Is that who that is? Okay.
So. All right. Yep.
Yeah. Sometimes we might know somebody well, but we don't
Buzz,
know
Buzz is going to do a great job.
He's
going to do a great job down there.
First year Steel High boys coach Buzz Cable. And then Joel Falcone, what's up, coaches? 3 exclamation marks. Hope you're all doing great.
Hi, Joel.
Yeah, Joel, one of the nicest guys. One of the nicest guys in the game.
I had the pleasure of coaching Joe also at McDevitt.
All in the family, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so, here's one of my absolute favorites, and of course, there's no need to explain too much why. Kelly Jaycott, Cumberland Valley, 2016. And Dwan, we have this. We're on a text together. We have been for years. There's like 5 of us, I think, and we go through phases where we're talking about girls basketball. And I mean, how much praise do I give Kelly Jaycott every single time?
Yes.
As far as resume goes, high school resume, nobody on this list has one like her. They just don't. She's got the McDonald's All-American. She's got the Gatorade Players of the Year. I think at least 2, 3 state championships, multiple district championship. But the only other thing I want to say, I mean, she scored like 2,200 points or something like that. But she was she was selfless at the same time. She scored loads of points, but if she needed to just kind of facilitate the ball, and if that was her role for a certain game or a certain period of that game, that's all she was going to do. You could watch her play without putting up a shot for, a couple quarters, right, Coach Lee?
Oh, absolutely. She was part of those really good teams that Bill had at Cumberland Valley. Well, during that stretch, and obviously she was, the engine that made them go. But like you said, she could do so many things. They had the Bauman girl, they had the younger Falconer girl, they had some other girls. So she would make plays for them because she could just do so many things. And a lot of times she was just so smooth and effortless with it. So she was definitely, the top player of that era,
absolutely,
in my opinion.
Yeah. Coach G, Randy Gambelunghe, what about?
Yeah, I'll tell a story on this. That we had upset them twice her senior year during the season. Then they beat us in district in the round of 8 in the quarterfinals. And then we met them in the quarterfinals of the state tournament at Milton Hershey. And they went off to a 10-0 lead. And the refs finally noticed after they took the lead, we were playing with a boys basketball.
Right.
Of course, our girls were bricking them. Kelly made 3 threes probably with
right.
boys ball. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. So,
Randy, Joe likes to give you a hard time about the games against us at Harrisburg, but what he doesn't tell you is I was getting my butt kicked by Bill. I might have beat you, but I couldn't beat Bill. So
isn't that funny?
It worked in a circle.
Yeah, exactly. And Randy's
Bill all the time, so it worked in a circle.
Randy's a couple games over 500 against Bill, like career, and they've played a lot of times.
I'm a lot under 500 against Bill.
Okay, so shout out Kelly Jaycott, amazing player, full package, of course. Olivia Jones, Randy, we'll have to go back to you, I think, on this
Kristi,
one.
you want to say something first? Or
Okay, or Kristi, yeah. Let you guys both say something.
We didn't play against them as much as Randy. Well, no, they weren't in the Commonwealth.
Yeah, but we played them in the playoffs quite a bit.
They were 6A, and plus you played them in mid-pens too.
Yeah, we met them once or twice through her career, but I watched her all through grade school because she came up through St. Teresa's, and she reminds me a lot of almost the exact same thing I said about Diamond Bragg. Like, you had to game plan for her. She made her teammates better. She's a tremendously nice young lady, brings the best out in her teammates. Like, I feel like those two really mirror each other a lot in their style too. They could, play all over the court, post up and shoot threes and handle the ball and defense. So those two remind me a lot of each other.
Another selfless player too, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she could have scored 25, 30 points a lot of games. And if she scored 14 and had 9 rebounds and 7 assists and they won the game and the rest of her and her teammates did well, got the ball, and she was fine with that. That's just the kind of player she is. Coach G, you went up against her in some kind of meaningful games,
Yeah. So they beat us 2 out of 3 the one year. We had to win on a buzzer shot in the one game from half court. But she's one of those players it was just really hard to game plan for. She, you try to put a game plan in for certain players, and sometimes it works. It was really hard to work against Olivia. And I'll never forget, before we played them the first time, we had a really good team. And I told the team, we're talking about Olivia, about the game plan. And, some of the girls were kind of poo-pooing a little bit, not poo-pooing, but, we got this type of mentality.
Uh-oh.
And I said, you know what? She wants the ball more than you do. I promise you, if you're not prepared to take the ball, get, the rebound and get loose balls like she wants it, they're going to beat us. So,
right.
Was that my good coaching voice there, wasn't it?
That was it. Yeah. That's a good message too,
But it was, she's legit.
So Olivia Jones, who later moved to Westtown, but had a lot of, to have the amount of success she had in 2 seasons at Cedar Cliff led her team. I'll say it led her team to a state championship game. So congratulations to Olivia Jones. And I think we're going to move back to Coach Dwan Lee with Ashley Langford, Harrisburg.
Right. So Ashley, I did not have the pleasure of coaching her. But I remember it would have been her senior year because she only played 1 year at Harrisburg.
Yeah, moved to Westtown.
They played Altoona, and I think it might have been like the state Final Four up at State College, and I went to the game. That's the first time I ever seen her play. And just her command on the floor was incredible, just seeing that. But then I kind of, as she got into coaching, I developed a really good relationship with her, and now she's obviously the head coach at Tulane University.
I didn't know that.
Star. Yeah.
Pretty good gig there.
She played at Tulane. She's like one of the best players ever played at Tulane.
Most assists ever. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. And now she's a head coach there, and she's a star in like college basketball coaching. Like she's going to be, Tulane's her alma mater, so she may want to stay there, but she's going to have her pick of SEC, ACC jobs when she's ready to do that. She was at James Madison for a while, and then she was the head coach at Stony Brook. And I think they won 2 CAA championships there, and then she was able to go back to her alma mater, Tulane. But
she's still in her late 30s, by the way.
Is that what she is? Yeah, she's young. Yeah, she's young.
Right,
she's younger.
Yeah, so that's great. I didn't know that, and so congratulations, Ashley Langford. Who wants to take Lady Lockhart, another Harrisburg girl, class of 2004?
You want that? I know she won the didn't she win the Travers Award, like being for her being such a great student athlete?
Oh, that's so worth mentioning. That's an incredible award. For anybody that doesn't know, the Travers Award, they combine their athletic prowess or their athletic accomplishments with their classroom work, their academics, and then their contributions to their community. Is that right, Coach Britten? The 3 of those, basically.
Yep.
And when you win that award, you are beating, you're winning against some other superb human beings, great young men and women. So that's a great accomplishment. How about on the floor, on the court? Anybody want to talk about Lady Lockhart?
So I was an assistant in 04, and we were in the Commonwealth at that point playing Harrisburg. And I can't speak too much to the detail, but I remember her name because I thought her name was so unique. And that, that stood
it's
out.
a great name.
Yeah. And she was that pesky point guard that just ran the show. You had to watch out for her in transition. You had to watch out for her in the half court. You had to be really diligent around her when she was on defense, because she was, quick and sneaky and steals. And so I just kind of remember this, like really a Webster's dictionary definition of a point guard, like from back in the day when you had 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s.
Right. Back in those days, huh?
Yeah.
So, as Penn State is, I don't know if it's still considered, but it long was considered linebacker U. Harrisburg is point guard high, at least for girls, probably for boys too.
Trinity's had some real good.
Absolutely,
yes,
there's no doubt about it.
Our panel member, she was.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, let's move on to Sherry Mikus. Is it Mikus Susquehanna? 2004. Did anybody have a chance to watch her play?
Yeah, you know what? I did, because when I first got into coaching, I was coaching 6th grade boys and girls basketball at Melrose Elementary School.
Well, you got a trail on you, Coach.
I was a teacher at Melrose, and I, was in the league. I don't know. Remember Lou Allen, Dwan? Remember Lou? He ran that league. Yep. But anyway, I had a player named Lacelia Hall. CC, they called it. Lacelia Hall played for Harrisburg all the way up through, I want to say, sophomore year. And she transferred to Susquehanna. And that team with her and Sherry Mikus is a lefty. They at that level, they're not playing the Commonwealth. They just dominated. And they would have both dominated they would have been done well in the Commonwealth too. So they were no joke players. She ended up going to Albany University, where I'm from Albany, New York. So I kind of got to follow her career a little bit there. So I
knew I could count on you, Coach G, to help us with some of these, let's just say, more obscure names, ones that are from a couple decades ago. And okay, let's move on to Taylor Miller, Mechanicsburg, 2010. Who remembers Taylor Miller? Anybody?
I do. So that year, we ended up playing Mechanicsburg in the district semifinals at the Giant Center, and she was a point guard on that team, and she was solid. And I think she ended up playing for her dad at Messiah, but she was solid. Clay's teams, really good, real efficient, and she ran the show for them. But I remember we played them and just preparing for them and just knowing the things that she could do on the floor.
Shout out Clay McAllister, Coach Clay McAllister from Mechanicsburg, one of our favorites. Also a baseball coach at Mechanicsburg. So let's move on to Caitlin Murray, Coach Kristi Britten, Trinity, class of 2005.
Yeah. Caitlin, so talk about, Laura is next. So the sisters. And I can honestly say, in my 28 years of coaching at Trinity, I did not come across a more intense player than Caitlin. Like, there was no joking around. There was no, I don't even think she thought she has a weird sense of fun,
right. I understand that.
I think she's a dentist now. So.
Okay, that says it all.
She's a pediatric dentist right here in Camp Hill.
Wow.
I actually had her, one of the cool things with Caitlin, and the whole family is just really great. But I had her come and speak to at a retreat to one of my teams, and I asked her to focus on she has these medals and these MVP trophies and award and this and that, and what that means to her now. Now she's a dentist, she had a career, she's a mom, and the theme of her whole speech, which was kind of my point at the time, was that was great. And it has helped form me to who I am now. But, don't let it define you. If you, just because you lose that championship game or you didn't score as many points as you wanted to, it's now I'm a dentist, I'm a mom, I have, I still love basketball and I have all of those accolades in my memories, but, there's other things too. And
what great advice.
So well. Yeah. She was just, she's been really great, but honestly, like she was intense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great advice. I mean, when you're living in that, whatever it is, it's usually we're talking about losses and stuff. You think that that's it, that's all it's ever going to be, but it's not. Especially if you're somebody like Caitlin Murray, and who's doing really well professionally now. So
can I piggyback off that a little
bit?
Absolutely. She coached with me at Hershey when I first started, and I had an athletic director who was a well-known athletic director. He was great. He was great to me, but he was like, intense. He was an intense athletic director. So you wanted to please him. So we were in the hallway at halftime. Caitlin's out there and the athletic director, we're losing. Athletic director walks by and says, so-and-so, it's so-and-so's not playing, needs to play better. And of course, me, I'm like, okay, all right. Caitlin goes, that's not it. She's 20-something years old. And she's like, so yeah, she was serious and intense. So
good for her.
Kristi,
I like
that kind of made me laugh.
Okay, so and Caitlin's younger sister, we're going to go back to Coach Kristi Britten, Laura Murray, class of 2010 at Trinity.
Yeah. So Laura, I mean, I don't know what their parents had in the water, but I mean, the biggest difference that stands out to me with the two of them, she was just as intense on the court and just as serious and just as driven. But then she allowed some time, like if we had a water break, she'd be over in the corner doing like cartwheels or, doing a handstand or something, and laughing. But then when it was time to get back to business, she was on point.
Good. Okay. So we've had a bunch of Trinity players so far and a couple Harrisburg, and let's move back to Central Dauphin. Caroline Shirey, class of 2022. I think I can give a brief introduction and say that it was Coach G, one of Coach G's favorite players you've ever coached, right?
Yeah, I have a bunch, but
I know she's on that short list.
She's just the most pleasant kid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who couldn't like Caroline Shirey? I mean, she just came with a bubbly attitude. Was so coachable, always cared about her teammates. And then, the fact that how much she improved from her freshman year to her senior year, even having that ACL injury, which was devastating at the end of her junior year, she came back faster than, I've seen anybody come back from it in my years of coaching. And I had a great senior year. And, it's hard to say. You can't be around, and I loved coaching her.
Yeah, she two-time All-State. I'm pretty sure. That's out of memory, and probably two-time District 3 champion too for her. So certainly a well-deserved selection. And then Gabby Singer, Central Dauphin state champ, the quarterback, I guess, of the point guard of that Central Dauphin team. She graduated in 2009, so she was a junior that year. And who remembers Gabby? To me, she was a prototypical, well, I want to call her a prototypical point guard, but she also could shoot the ball like crazy. Who remembers Gabby? Who was to take Gabby Singer?
I remember her again. That was my first year, and she was on that team with Alyssa Thomas, Gabby Singer,
Probst, Lindsay Meyer was good on that team,
and they had the big girl. I can't think of her name. Kind of Caroline's size, not as good as Caroline, but she was.
Yeah. Caitlin Bassett. Is that it?
Caitlin Bassett. Yeah, she's about 6'2", 6'3". So, but definitely Gabby would, she was, Alyssa obviously was Alyssa, and then, but Gabby was the one that, kind of got them in their sets, got them going. Like you said, she was clutch shooter, made the right play. So
I think she was 9 of 10. I could be stretching it. This could be like when things, as years go by, you start making stuff up or stories change. But I think she was 9-10 in the fourth quarter of the state championship game from the line. Does that sound right, Coach G?
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I was there. That was there. She was clutch.
I was there too. So, but they needed her to win that. I mean, they had, of course, Alyssa Thomas, but they don't win that game without Gabby Singer for sure. Megan Smith, West Perry. Here's one that a lot of times you don't like. We mentioned a Susquehanna player earlier. A lot of times it's tougher for these Susquehanna, West Perry, smaller schools like that didn't play necessarily against the top mid-pen competition. So Megan Smith had to be really darn good, correct?
I remember. You know what? We didn't play them, but I do remember going to the mid-pen tournament when West Perry was in it when she was a senior, and she must have had 25 to 30 point games in a row. I don't know. I don't think
Milton
they won
Hershey,
the
I
tournament.
think.
Yeah, but she pretty much dominated down there.
Right.
That was my only real look.
Yeah, I remember her too. They had her, and I think they had was she the redhead girl? They had a really good redhead. That was a good team. Yeah, that was a good team. So, Megan, we apologize that we can't say any more about you, but we do know that you had a very good team, and you were the leader of that team. So, congratulations to Megan Smith, class of 2014 from West Perry. And we're going to move back to Coach Kristi Britten, Leah Springer, Camp Hill, 2016.
Yeah, Leah, again, was one of the players. I guess it goes without saying, all of these girls are players that you had to prep for, and scout for. I feel like she was, kind of one of those under the radar players too, like what I said about Jill, like she's not extraordinarily strong or fast or tall or short or, defense or offense. Like she was just an all around good player, long and lanky. So it caused a lot of mismatch problems for us. And overall, she ended up at Messiah as well. Just a super nice girl. Really nice young lady. Yeah.
And Diamond was her teammate. Diamond was a sophomore when Leah was a senior.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a really, really good stretch for Camp Hill, obviously. Okay. Another one of my best of the best here, Malia Tate DeFreitas, Steel High class of 2013, 3,000 plus points. And close to that in college. Probably would have gotten it if she didn't have the knee injury. So if you can do 3,000 and then 3,000 more in Division won 2 state the clear team leader of 2 back-to-back state championship teams. I know. I think everybody probably is familiar with her and watched her play or coached against her. Who wants to take Malia Tate DeFreitas?
I'll take this one.
Go ahead, Coach.
I got a good story. Her senior year, the Harrisburg still in rivalry, but we had never played them. It just never worked where we could play them. So her senior year, it's like late January, and we had a snow game. Something happened. We had a game, and their coach at the time, Coach Chiz, he would always say, play, play, play. So we were able to play. So we set the game up in like a week.
A real game, right?
Real game. We ended up playing, and we sold the gym out. It was a great game, but
for girls basketball,
she ended up scoring 52 points against us, and it was crazy. Like coaching against Alyssa Thomas and some of these other girls, and we couldn't stop her. So we kind of said at halftime, I said, "Listen, we are going to lock down on everybody else, and if she can beat us by herself, then we're going to lose." We end up, we won the game, but
right.
She had 52 points, and it was always a question of people like, could she do that at the Commonwealth level? Could she do that? But she proved that day that she could. And, I have a lot of respect for her. I've known her family forever, and she definitely, at that time, and she carried her team to 2 state titles. But she kind of transformed girls basketball at Still High, and put them on the map and did some great things.
Yeah, sometimes these smaller school players, they have a chance to prove how great they are against better competition.
Right.
Diamond Bragg's Camp Hill team beat Bill Wolf's Cumberland Valley team.
Right.
In the mid-pen, Okay. And I was the public address announcer. I watched the whole game. They beat them because they beat them. You know what I mean? They beat them for 4 quarters. And Coach G, you probably remember that. So, yeah, you can't always say like Commonwealth or 6A or, So that's a great story, Coach. Okay, we're down Go ahead, Coach Britten.
I was just going to say, like, I remember too, because we played. They were in our league,
That's
in our
correct. Yeah.
division, and you know, everything that Dwan said, but she'd pull up, like she'd take a step over half court and launch it. And she had that non-traditional shot, like she triggered it from her hip, or like it was, it was low, and it looked like it would be easy to block or defend because she released it so low, but whatever she did and however she got it off, I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah.
The thing I remember about her most is what the kids call now finishing package. Like she could finish around the rim, and I always remember that. Like, and that's a skill for a lot of kids. Like she could finish over bigger girls or over defenders. She was really good at finishing around the rim.
There are a lot of really good players that don't know how to finish or have some room for improvement. That's for sure.
She finished.
Okay. And down the stretch here, we'll go back to well, it was 4A at the time, but big school, Maddie Torreson, Cumberland Valley, 2014. Coach G.
Well, I was at Hershey most of that time,
yeah,
but
right.
I seen her numerous times, and she was active. I mean, she was strong and active, and she had so many good players on her teams. I think she was a senior when Kelly was probably a sophomore, and they had
I believe so.
an older Falconer who could shoot. They had a great team, and I think Taylor Snideman was a point guard. They had an amazing team. So, when you have such a good team and she does that much on that team, it says a lot. She was just so active, rebound, hustle. She went on, I think, to Townsend, and I think she played in Europe. She played for a long time after high school too.
Yeah, that's a great point. When you have all that help, all the supporting cast like that, and you're still able to kind of be that elite, amongst all those other great players. That's a really good point. So, all right, here we go. Alyssa Thomas.
Number one. Number one.
Yeah, number one. I don't even think that's a debate. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Dwan's. We have whenever we talk about that. That's Dwan's number one all the time. We've been talking about this for years.
And I know Jennifer Harris was really good too.
Yeah.
But Alyssa Thomas, like it was. I remember it was like when I was in ninth grade in high school. We played Carlisle, and our coach. I was at Harrisburg, and this is before I went to McDevitt, and our coach was Carl Rachelson. And I remember we were preparing for the game and him talking about Billy Owens, what he was going to do. And fast forward 25 years later and just preparing. We actually played them in the district finals, which was my second year, 2010. And we had played them. That would have been our third time playing them that year. And they were all good games. And just like she could dominate games in ways like she wasn't a person that would score 40 or something. But she would always have 25, 15 rebounds, 5 or 6 blocks, 7 or 8 assists. And when she just wanted to take over the game, she could, from a physical standpoint and from a skills standpoint. And when the best athlete on the floor is 6'2", what do you do?
And wide shoulders.
Yeah,
broad
shoulders. She was just. And people used to always say, well, she can't shoot. Well, when you can finish the way she could, or just create any shot you want, who cares if you can shoot?
Yeah, a lot of like
a LeBron James type situation.
A lot of bigs.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just not their forte.
But I just never consider her a big. She was what they call now. She's like the modern day basketball player. She was that.
She's about a 3.5.
Right.
Not quite a 4, but little
she could
bigger and stronger than a traditional 3, I guess.
Right.
And she could play the 1. That was what's crazy. She would get a defensive rebound and be past half court before anybody else.
Yeah.
She was already in her own fast break.
It's funny you say that, Coach.
So well. Yeah.
It's funny you say that. So again, when I was coaching girls that first year, she did that to us. And I had Stasia King. Stasia King was young. And I said, I'm going to teach you how to do that, because if you could do that half as good as her, that would make us really good. But she would grab the rebound and just push it the whole way down the floor. So I start teaching my big girls to do that.
That's good coaching there. I like that, Coach.
That wasn't good coaching. That was just
it's a good notion, a good approach. Good approach.
I can't stop this, so I got to get somebody to do it.
There you go. All right. And then last and certainly not least was Carla Thomas from Cumberland Valley, class of 2003, state champion. And again, I think she's one of the elites amongst the elites here. That's my opinion. I think Vanderbilt, correct? She went on to a very successful career at Vanderbilt. And did anybody, Coach Britten, did you have experience against Carla?
We did. I mean, we were in the Commonwealth in 03.
Yeah. Okay.
I was Coach DeFrank's assistant, and I can't really speak to specifics. Just in general, remember her as a presence, like a big,
right,
physical, intimidating presence.
6'1", 6'2", and athletic,
and strong.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so that's 25, and boy, great list. And I've been saying by PennLive, I'm just going to say it's Eric Epler's list because he said, Joe, I don't mind if you throw my name out there. Great list, Eric. And Eric's a great at covering girls high school basketball. He does a really fabulous job. So let's talk about some of the players that didn't make the list that we think deserve at least a mention, or that maybe they had a place in there, and we're definitely not going to try to take anybody off. That's not our goal here. But I know, Coach Lee, we've talked about this over the last few weeks. You had a few players. You mentioned Stacia King, Taisha Brown, great point guard, and then Dejanay Brandon, 2-time All-State player and district champion, and then Proctor from Harrisburg and Susquehanna Township. So, tell us a little bit about these players that you coached that didn't make the list.
And all of them except for Dejanay played when it was 4 classes. So
right.
You talk about kids. Taisha was a first team All-State. In fact, that year, and I don't know if you remember this, Randy, we had on the 4A first team All-State, our league, we had Taisha, we had Kyla Irwin, and we had Kelly Jaycott on the first team. And I think your girl Tori was on the second team.
Tori. Mm-hmm.
Like our division, out of the 5 selections for first team All-State 4A at the time, 3 were from the Commonwealth.
Wow.
And so that just shows, the level of talent in that division. Wow. Dejanay Brandon was a 2-time first team All-State. Twice in 5.
Big school.
She was 3-time, twice in 5A and then once in 6A. Stasia was a first team, and then Sabri. So, obviously you can only pick 25, but those are 4 that, play for me that I would say if I had a vote that were going, they all ended up being Division I basketball players. Dejanay Brandon is actually the all-time leading scorer, Harrisburg boys
and girls. Yeah.
He's the all-time leading scorer. And then,
all right. That was diplomatic, Coach. as our goal is here. Let's move over to Coach Britten, and I want to throw this name out. I know we're all kind of wondering. This is the one that, I guess the circles I kind of hang out and travel in. This is the kind of stuff we talk about a lot. And one of the names that just keeps coming up, Ashley Betts White.
Yeah, that's
Coach Britten. Just tell us a little bit about her.
Yeah, Ashley. So I actually graduated from Trinity with her mother. With Ashley and Bree. Bree was a couple years younger. Ashley was a senior when her sister Bree was a freshman. They both went on to play Division I. And Ashley, you have like the Ashley and the Laura Murray playing together, and the intensity of her and that team. I think Ashley is another one. She had a smile that could just melt your heart, but man, when she's on the court, she's all fangs. Like you don't mess with her. She was intense.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, those are 2 that were non-Cougars that I'm like, yeah, they got to be on that list.
Right. Okay, let me interrupt myself here and mention that Leanne Mahoney, is it Magash?
Yeah, that's Josie's. Josie played for me. That's Josie, another great player for me. That's Josie's mom.
She says we loved watching Laura Murray! ! Yeah. So Leanne, thank you for tuning in and watching us. And let me see here if there's any more. I'll mention this one before I turn it over to Coach G. I think, and I guess the best way for me to try to explain it is the most skilled player, maybe, that didn't make the list. Just great basketball player, could do it all. Maya Buchanevich, do you guys remember her from State College? Yeah, you do. You coached against her. Boy, was she something.
Yeah, she was.
I'm saying she could shoot the ball. She could handle the ball as well as any point guard. She was 6 foot. You know, she had forward size, guard skills, and played great defense. Had great hands. And I was talking to Coach G earlier. The one thing that she didn't do, and she played on really good teams, but they didn't win like any significant. You know, when you're up in District 6, you don't really have a tournament, or you have 2 teams or whatever. But I just thought that Buchanevich was incredible. And
she was good.
We'll move over to Coach G. How was game planning for Maya Buchanevich?
Oh, you know what? She had the highest release. You couldn't, you know, she could get any shot off. You know, it was just hard to guard her. You just had to try to not let her get the ball.
Can I put a feather in your cap here that she put up like at least 11 on you guys, the one in the first quarter one game, and I think she scored like 3 more points the rest of the game. But
yeah, I had someone face guarded the rest of the game.
Yeah, but the point is, more than that, you guys stopped her. The point is, she lit you guys up for a quarter. I thought, my gosh, this girl's going to have 30. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So talk about some of the players that you that you want to mention here, along with all these.
Yeah, I'm going to mention 3 players, mainly because they had all the attributes of a great teammate, great attitude, coachable, smart, winners. And so, I've had more, you could name so many, but first was Victoria Blackburn at Hershey. Victoria I only got her coach her 1 year. She was with Trinity before. Thank you, Kristi. But I'm just kidding. But she was just a coach on the floor. I mean, I remember having conversations with her like she was my assistant coach. That's how smart she was. She just knew what she was doing on the floor, and she was unselfish and fit right in. Then it was Tori Lesko. What's up? I'm sorry, Kristi.
Well, Blackburn, I mean, lived and breathed coaching, right? Both her parents were very, very knowledgeable, successful coaches.
Right.
And Paul was on the show, the boys' show. I got to watch him, and I think he named every player that he ever coached. So, Paul, if you're watching,
he was a professional guest on this show the other day. I mean, that was an unbelievable guest appearance.
But congrats to him. He's getting inducted into the Hershey Hall of Fame, so I'm very happy for him. Another player was Tori Lesko. Dwan had mentioned Tori. What a fun player to watch and coach. Just, she was harder on herself than anybody else she just cared. And she was such a talented passer, rebounder.
She's probably I was going to say that. She's probably one of the best passers that I've ever seen.
No looks, behind the backs, behind the heads. Yeah.
And I don't know.
She was like Larry Bird. She passed like Larry Bird.
Exactly.
Yeah, she did.
And her shot was over the head like Larry Bird a little bit too.
Oh, yeah, she was.
But she, Joe, you remember the game at when I think I don't know if Cumberland Valley was on that big win streak. They hadn't lost in a year, and Tori went coast to coast for a buzzer beater, and that was unbelievable.
Just kind of a little runner,
Yep. So that was awesome. And then 2-time district champ. She's on the softball list, top 25. She just finished her career at South Carolina in the NCAA tournament softball. And Sam Gress, she's just another one. Leader, hard on herself, cared about, wanted to be coached. She could have said she knew it all, but Sam was just and she was really a 2-guard playing point guard, but she could play the point. And
she did play the point. She played both for most of the time.
Right,
I don't want to tell you your business. You were the coach, but
when you make
bring the ball up, kick it out, and then get open and get a shot.
Exactly. You make your set plays for the point guard coming off screens. I don't know if you've ever done that for Tyson. And,
exactly.
Kristi's had a few. So, those 3 really stick out as far as the total package.
And then another player that I had, I'll just throw this one in. It was very kind of athletic, just a really tough, tall, strong girl, Karanda Perea from Altoona. She was really tough. So I think that's all.
I'd like to throw a couple more names out there, Joe, because
let's do it. That's what we're here for.
Only because sometimes you guys have experienced this where you just have no answer for a kid. In a particular game, try everything. And the two kids that I remember just not being able to stop, one was Taisha Brown. I think she scored 25 on us one game at Harrisburg. And the other was Kaylee Gelbaugh from CD East.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, she could score. There was CD East has had some really good players through the years that weren't recognized. Danielle Everson, Brittany Robinson. I'm forgetting some here.
Yeah.
But there's Kaylee Gelbaugh was really tough.
She's actually going. Her and Brittany are actually going into our Hall of Fame in September.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
Well deserved. Yes.
Jeff Kaufman says Cecily Carl, Taylor Miller, and Katie Hurd. Jeff, the first two are on the list. I don't know if you.
Well, Katie Hurd was the point guard on Carla Thomas's team.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
She was good.
So
very good.
Can we close with this?
I got a name.
Yeah, let's.
I thought Jackie Falconer. She kind of started that run for Bill. She was on those teams. I think they lost in the finals. Her and Maddie Torson that year was that 2014. I think they lost in the finals, and then they went on that run.
Yeah,
her and her sister were really good, but Jackie was really good. She was long, athletic, played at Penn. She was really good.
This list could be made up.
Yeah. What about Sonata? I can't pronounce her last name from Carlisle. Boy, she could score.
Yeah, we were talking about her the other night. Yeah, lots of
Kristi,
Trinity,
anybody out
Central
there
Dolphin.
you want to throw out there?
Yeah, well, I didn't want to butt in.
No, go ahead.
I was surprised too. I do. I feel like I could name my own.
No, name names.
Selfishly. Right. But I was kind of surprised actually just at the overall list there were only 2 girls from the last 5 years.
Right.
The majority,
that's a good point.
And I think we had some great players in the last 5 years. So
and that's Shirey and Jones.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I believe so. I had Lauren Trumpy go through. She went on to Northwestern. I had Ava Stevenson.
I loved Ava as a player.
Ava was a great all-around player for me. Speaking of sisters, we had the Murray sisters on, which was wonderful. And then I mentioned the Betts White sisters. We also had the Walker sisters.
Yeah.
I think Amy was before 2000, so she wouldn't have made the time frame. But Kristi Walker,
right.
came through. She was in the last 25 years and went on to LaSalle. And, just another, that you could do a whole podcast, Joe, on that whole family.
Absolutely.
the boys and the girls side. And so Sunshine McCray was another one. She had over 1,000 points. She had over 1,000 rebounds.
All state twice.
I think, and I'm pretty sure she was
twice.
McDonald's All-American nominee, so she had a lot of accolades as well. The list goes on. I was hesitant to start because I don't want to create any hard feelings. And, I've loved so many of these kids. I don't want them to be like, Coach, you forgot about me. But,
you're talking about with the Trinity girls. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think the good thing with these, like if you look at the success that Randy's had and CD's had in the past, and Trinity, Harrisburg before I got there, and even Cumberland Valley, you could do top 25 lists for all of our schools, and it would be impressive. Like you could do a top 25 CD list, top 25 Trinity list, top 25 Harrisburg list, top 25 Cumberland Valley list, and you would sit back and be like, and no shot at the other schools, but just off the top of my head, those 4 schools, and wow.
And then I'm going to throw just one more name out. Just this player that I just loved as an athlete. She was a 2-sport athlete. Would have probably been more than 2 sports if she played more than 2 sports. Abby Miller from Cumberland Valley. I just think she's a fabulous competitor, awesome young lady. And then she was a really good basketball player and a goalkeeper in soccer. And I believe they won at least one district championship in soccer too. So
I think if Jill Jaycott would have stayed around her senior year, she could have had a really big year and be on this list.
There's no doubt. Yeah. It was kind of her league. That's overstating. It's never somebody's league, but it was her league to be the best player in had she stuck around, I think. Yeah, you're right about that. Okay. Here we go. The male coaches didn't want to mess with this. Can we do a top 5? I'll start. You guys can kind of pick at mine and tell me where I'm wrong or maybe right. Here's who I like, and in no particular order, but I'll still give you the first 2 that I think the top 2: Alyssa Thomas from Central Dauphin, Kelly Jaycott from Cumberland Valley, and then Malia Tate DeFreitas, Brianne Hill again from McDevitt, and oh gosh, who's my last one? I know who it is. There's not even any. Jen Harris from Central Dauphin. That's my top 5.
I can live with that.
Can you live with that? That's a tough 5 there.
Joe, I can live with that too, but I will say once again, Alyssa Thomas,
right,
the best.
Right.
Yeah. I'd probably throw Carla Thomas in there in place of one of your girls, but I don't want to go.
That's saying enough. I don't disagree with you. She was fabulous. She was like you said, we already talked about it, but she was a big with guard skills, and she just did it all. And so, coaches, you guys are all awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You have to know just how much I appreciate this, because I know you guys all have other things to do, and to come on here and just have that was a really smart hour of talking girls basketball. And congrats to the players who you coached, to the players you coached against. Dwan, good luck with the fall sports season at Central Dauphin East.
Thank you.
Every new year gives you new opportunities, right?
Yeah. Friday night we're at York High.
That's going to be a big one.
Yep.
So let's no more comments. Let's just go in here and thank our
It's great seeing you, Kristi and Dwan. I got to say that. It's great seeing both of you.
Thank you.
That's our sponsors. Thanks to our Lingelstown Gazette Sports Platinum sponsors. And you will see us again this Sunday night for our high school football recap show, 6:00. We have Eric Thomas, Terry Clark Jr., Travis Waters. Ben Dupree should be off this collage because he's coaching again, which is awesome. We lost him from the crew for the right reasons. And then the voice of Delco, Dave Berman. And we have a special guest on, Mike Warfield, Coach Mike Warfield from Aliquippa.
Wow. Okay.
Let's call him Coach Lee, the first-year head coach. He's back. He took a year off after having oodles of success at Aliquippa, and he's back, and he's going to be our coach guest this Sunday night. So thanks, everyone. We really appreciate it, and good luck with whatever you're all working on, and appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
All right. See ya.
Take care.